Hello, welcome to my beginner's guide to Affinity Photo. In this video, we're going to look at the user interface. Affinity Photo is rapidly becoming one of the more common tools for editing images, and I wanted to do a beginner's series just to ease people into using it. And I'm going to start completely from scratch, assuming that you know just about nothing about photo editing or Photoshop or anything like that. And so this first session is all about how the interface works. And if you're a Photoshop user and coming to this, you will notice a few noticeable differences, shall we put it that way. Let's move over into Affinity Photo and I can talk you through the interface. You can see I've got it over the screen, over the shoulder there. Just to comment right at the start, the main area in the middle is our work area, the canvas if you like, that we're working on. And if I go full screen, you can see the other bits a little bit clearer. Down the left hand side we have all the tools. Now these are tools like selection tools, like paintbrush, eraser tool, etc, etc. By default, when you come in, you are in the move tool, which allows you to move the image around on there. Above that, we've got standard sort of Windows Mac menu up at the top. And then we have what they call the toolbar, which runs all along the top here. And below the toolbar, at the moment it's only got information in it, but that is our context toolbar. Now, you'll see that change if I choose which tool I have access. So if I choose the paintbrush, we can see that changes to give us access to the size, the opacity, flow, etc. On there, and various other tools relating to that. If I change that to the elliptical marquee, again, a different menu on there, and something like the blur tool will get yet again different settings available with that. So we can just move through them. The top one being they call it the view tool, and that, as I say, it just allows you to move things around on the canvas. Also allows you to zoom in. So if I hold Control and use my mouse, I can zoom in on the image or zoom out. There are actually shortcut keys for this. Control 1 goes to 100%. Control 0 fits on in the work area on there. Right, over on the right hand side is something which is a little bit different. This area is known as the studio area, and we've got a number of panels in here. And these panels are the sort of standard things you would expect on an editing software. The ability to do adjustments, to view the layers which are set up, layer effects, and so on. We've got things like color, brushes up here as different tabs. Now, if you've got multiple monitors and you want to move things around, you can undock things. So I can undock the histogram, I can have it floating. I could push it up onto a different monitor. You can't see it, but believe me, it went through onto a different monitor with that. And basically you can do quite a lot with it. There are other panels you might want to have on here, and you can get those from the View menu and under Studio. So if, for example, I wanted the info panel, I could select that, and at the moment it's come up as a floating one. I can dock that into anything else by just grabbing hold of there and placing it on the bar where the other tabs are, and it's successfully docked. I can put it in as its own item by going to the bottom of one of the items, and it will slot it in there. There is actually a left-hand side studio available, and you can see as I move it over here, it gives me the option to put it in over there, and I could dock my histogram over here. You see as I move it down, where it goes blue, that's an area where I can dock something. So I've now got that on there, and I can set up a display as I want it to look. So I might want, for example, the layers to always be visible, or always to be visible over on this side, like that. And I can keep messing around with it. I can decide, well, maybe I don't want the stock one. I can pull it off there and get rid of it. And I can do things like that. And to get the display looking as I want it to look for how I want to work. Now, if you've been playing around with it like that and you think, actually, I've made a complete pig's ear of this, how do I reset it? View, and under Studio, we can reset Studio, and everything will go back to the defaults on there. But suppose I have made one change that I particularly want to do, and in my case it's the layers. I want that really to be down here at the bottom, ideally by itself. So I'll put that in there. Now, having got the display looking how I want it to be, I might want to save this. So let's suppose this is the layout I want whenever I'm working here at iansstudio. How do I do that? I go up to the View menu and Studio Presets, Add Preset, and I will call it IMB Ian's Studio, and say OK. So now if I was to reset my what they call their studio, reset studio, I haven't got the layers down there. I can just go View, Studio Presets, Ian's Studio, and we've got the layout looking as I want it. Talking of customizing the layout, you can customize what's on the toolbar at the top and the tools down the side. Again, off the View menu, you can see here, customize a toolbar, and that's the one at the top. So if I select that, you can see we've got these dotted rectangles, and I can choose to put extra things into there that I want. So let's suppose I wanted my account icon to be up there. I can just drag that and place it in up here. So I've now got that up there. Maybe I've decided I don't want that. I just drag it down into this area and it vanishes. So that gets rid of things like that. So you can customize that all you like. I will close that. You can also customize the tools on the left hand side here. View, customize tools, and again different ones you might want to have access to. Suppose I want access to the custom blur tool. I can just drag that over onto here, put it in where I want, so down at the bottom there, and View, turn off customized tools on there. And again, I could have done the same sort of thing of just moving and dragging things off there that I don't want, but I've got that now set up on there. One thing just to say about the tools over on this side is you'll notice some of them have got these little triangles in the corner, and that's because they are what we call stacked tools. So you can either click and hold on a tool and it will show you everything that's underneath there with it, or you can precise click on that little triangle. If you're as good as that, it can show you all of the ones which are underneath that way, and it just means that it's grouped together all the similar tools. Other things you can do to customize the appearance is edit, preferences and user interface. Now, I sometimes prefer not to work with light text on a dark background. Sometimes I find it quite hard with that. I've got the option to change that to light coloured. And one of my favourites actually is I actually find the coloured icons down here look a little bit almost childlike. You can have them monochrome, which I actually quite prefer. But for the sake of the tutorials, I'm going to make these dark and not monochrome because that's what most people will be using. So you can adjust the layout like that. One thing I want to talk about up on the toolbar at the top is this little selection here. 4 or 5 icons. They are what we refer to as personas. Now, personas are basically a sort of preset. By default, when you come in, you are in the photo persona. The next one along is the liquify persona. So if I select that, you'll see that the tools down here change. The panels over here in the studio change, and I'm just going to use the square bracket to bring my brush size down, and I can start just playing around. I can make this iceberg taller if I wanted by using the liquify like that, and I can just keep pulling on the pixels to adjust things. Maybe bring that down just a little bit like that. So I've got the option to play around with things and adjust things in there with the liquify tool. And we've got, as I say, different views and tools over there. Now, I'm not going to go into full detail of all you can do. That at the end of it, you have to choose to apply or cancel, and that effectively then gets baked into your image. I'm going to say apply on here. So now I'm back. When I hit apply, it goes back to the photo persona and my liquify changes have happened. Next one along is the develop persona. Now this is designed for processing raw images, and I'm going to do a specific video all about that. So I'm not going to say any more about that at this point. Cancel out of that one. Next one along is the tone mapping persona. Now the tone mapping persona is designed for basically HDR images or 32-bit images where you've got a dynamic range which is too large really to display, and you've got to work out how to compress things and do that. So unless you're doing that sort of work, you don't need to know about that one. I'm not going to cover that at the moment, so cancel out of there. It takes me back to the photo persona. The final persona is quite an interesting one. This is the export persona, and this allows us to export our images into different formats. Now, you may be aware that we have an export on the menu, and you don't have to go into the export persona to export your images. What the persona allows you to do is to do a lot more advanced exports. So you can effectively export the individual layers, or you can export different regions of an image as files in their own right. And it allows you to do that sort of thing and to have greater control over what you export. Again, it's one of those things that unless you need to know about it, it's something you probably won't need to go into. I'll show you exporting in a different video. So that's my overview of the user interface for Affinity Photo. I hope you found it helpful, and it gives you that grounding on the different parts and what they're all for. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.